Okay, so the calendar is flipped. We're in a new year, and you, the learner, are probably sitting on this mountain of potential. You have the freedom, the ability to make this year excellent,
But there's a Shange paradox right
a
there.
massive one. It's the gap between having the ability to do something great and having the character, that internal fire to actually go and do it.
Exactly. It's potential energy versus kinetic energy. We all have the potential, but the real deep dive is about the structure you need to turn intention into reality, day after day.
Yeah, and that's what we're getting into today. We're pulling from, well, everywhere. Military strategy, ancient philosophy, modern psychology.
We've got Colin Powell, Robert Greene, and then, of course, the Stoics, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, the greats.
Our mission here is pretty simple, really. It's to give you a kind of blueprint.
Right. To unpack the planning, the practice, and the really tough self-interrogation that moves you from just knowing what to do to actually doing it.
So let's start with a quote from Colin Powell that just cuts right to the heart of it. He said, "The freedom to do your best means nothing unless you are willing to do your best."
That's it. That's the whole game in one sentence. Your ability, your freedom, that's just the raw material. The willingness is what refines it.
And when you map those two things out, you get this incredibly clear matrix for, well, for everything.
You do. You have two axes. First, you have ability. That's what you can or can't do.
And on the other axis, you've got character, what you will or won't do.
And that gives us four quadrants. The first one is the goal, right? Can and will.
Mastery.
Total mastery. Your skill meets your commitment. You have the ability, and you use it. Your potential and your practice are perfectly aligned.
Then you get to the most frustrating one, can but won't.
Oh, absolutely. You have the talent, you have the time, you have the freedom, but
Yeah.
you choose not to. You scroll instead of study.
It's a pure test of character, isn't it?
It's the ultimate test. It's doing the right thing when nobody's watching. It's about whether you're actually committed to your values or if you just like the idea of them.
Okay, but then there's the really interesting one, the growth zone. Can't, but will.
This is where everything is born. You don't have the skill yet. You might be terrible at it. You might fail over and over.
But the willingness is there. The commitment is rock solid.
Exactly. The willingness comes before the skill. You might not be able to run a marathon today, but you will put on your shoes and run for 5 minutes. That's how ability is built.
But I have to ask, where's the line, between that growth zone and just self-delusion? You can will yourself to be a pro basketball player, but if you're 5'5",
That's a really, really important question. The key is feedback. In the growth zone, your effort leads to measurable improvement, even if it's tiny. You're failing forward.
okay.
Delusion is when you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, with no honest self-assessment.
Which makes that last quadrant, can't and won't, so much scarier.
It's the victim's territory. Full stop. Complaining, blaming, comparing, waiting for someone to rescue you. It's just inertia. Guaranteed failure.
There's a great example of this, of moving into the growth zone, the anthropologist Daniel Everett.
Right. He grew up on the California-Mexico border and just felt this incredible pull toward Mexican culture, the language, the food, everything.
He was in the can't zone. He didn't speak Spanish, didn't understand the culture.
But he was in the will zone. He was so willing. He immersed himself completely, willing to be awkward, willing to fail, until his resolve literally created his ability. That's where purpose is forged.
And that willingness, it needs a plan. Without direction, all that resolve just becomes, well, chaos.
Which brings us right to Seneca. He warned that it isn't just activity that drives people mad, but false conceptions of things, oesis.
Oases. Okay, what does that actually mean for us today?
It's basically our flawed judgments, the distorted stories we tell ourselves, the idea that being busy is the same as being productive.
Or that you have to answer every single email the second it comes in.
Exactly. It's believing that all that external noise is more important than your own internal clarity.
So the cure for that madness is a clear plan, an end goal. You see it in Green, in Covey, plan all the way to the end. Begin with the end in mind.
And it's not just about a project goal. It's about defining the identity you want to have, the kind of person you want to be. That clarifies every single choice you make today.
And look, having a plan doesn't guarantee you'll get there. Life happens.
Of course, but not having one guarantees you'll get lost. You'll just be blown around by whatever comes your way.
It tells you what to say yes to, and maybe more importantly, what to say no to.
Absolutely. And this connects directly to our daily lives through something we can call the quality equation.
Okay, what's that?
The quality of your life, your own personal culture, is the desirable qualities you build up minus the undesirable qualities you tolerate.
Ah, so it's not just addition, it's subtraction too.
It's critically about subtraction. We focus on building good habits, but we ignore the things that are actively draining us.
What does that look like? Tolerating drift.
It looks like a mindlessly scrolling for an hour. It's letting a small resentment with someone just simmers under the surface. It's putting off a tough conversation.
Every time you tolerate a half effort from yourself, you're literally subtracting from the good you're trying to build.
You're putting cracks in your own foundation. It comes back to that old idea. The little things are the big things. Your discipline on the small stuff reveals your true character.
So once we have that clarity, that intention, the next step is to deepen it, to make it part of you.
And this is where Marcus Aurelius comes in. He had this brilliant analogy. He said, a philosopher should be a boxer, not a fencer.
A boxer, not a fencer. What's the difference?
Well, the fencer's weapon, his sword, can be taken away. He can be caught unprepared.
But the boxer,
Yeah.
his weapons are his hands. They're fused to him. He's always ready.
That fusion, that's what we're after.
Right.
And it requires deep practice, not just skimming the surface.
Uh-huh.
Seneca said we should linger among a limited number of master thinkers and digest their works until the ideas take firm hold.
That is so countercultural today, isn't it? We're all about speed, about how many books you read this year.
We're drowning in information, but wisdom comes from depth, not breadth. Think about Marcus Aurelius himself.
His meditations.
They're basically his personal record of wrestling with Epictetus. He read him over and over and over until that philosophy became his own operating system. He didn't read 100 books once, he read one book 100 times.
And that commitment has to be a daily practice.
It has to be. Epictetus was very direct about it. Every day and night, keep thoughts like these at hand, write them, read them aloud, talk to yourself and others about them.
You're building philosophical muscle memory.
You are. And there's a simple test for whether you've truly internalized something. It comes from Einstein, actually. He said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Deep practice makes the complex simple. If you can't explain it, it's still the fencer's sword. It's not part of you yet.
Exactly. Which brings us to the hardest part, the place where resolve is tested most. Rigorous self-interrogation. In the laboratory of the self.
You mean journaling, but not just any journaling.
Not at all. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius's practice. It wasn't for anyone else to read. It was a private space to deal with his own stress, his own fear.
But it was more than that. It was brutally honest.
The philosopher Michel Foucault called it a weapon in spiritual combat.
A weapon in spiritual combat. That's intense.
It is. Because your journal isn't a diary to complain in, it's a field manual. You drag your vague anxieties and your lame excuses out into the light so you can see them clearly and fight them with logic.
I mean, the questions Marcus was asking himself are just stunning. Not, I feel bad today, but
What am I doing with my soul? What kind of soul do I have now? A child's soul? A tyrant's soul? The soul of a predator or its prey?
as the most powerful man in the world, he knew that if he didn't ask himself those questions,
No one else would dare. And that's true for you, too. No one is going to hold you accountable like you can hold yourself accountable. It's the only path to real self-awareness.
so you create this feedback loop, right? You read, you struggle to apply it, you journal about the struggle.
Then you try again in the real world, and you go back and reread your journal to see the patterns. It's what Bill Gates said. We all need people that will give us feedback. Well, your journal can be your most honest feedback partner.
And all that internal work, the planning, the deep practice, the journaling, it's all for nothing without the courage to actually act.
That's the final piece. And making courage a habit means you have to learn to see hesitation differently.
How so?
We see hesitation as a stop sign, a reason to turn back. But really, it's a compass. That little spike of fear points you exactly where you need to go.
Towards the growth zone, the can't but will territory.
Exactly. And that willingness to act has to apply to how we treat other people, too. Our character shows up in our conversations.
The THINK filter.
A classic for a reason. Before you speak, you have to be willing to pause and ask, is it true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind?
It takes real character to hold back something clever or cutting because it fails that test.
It really does. And to take that idea even further, think about what Tolstoy said about love.
Okay.
He said that human love serves to love those near to us, but to love one's enemies, we need divine love.
Wow. So loving your friends is easy, that's just inclination.
But to love your opponents, people who make your life difficult, that requires a huge leap of character, an incredible act of will.
And this all applies directly to leadership, doesn't it? Whether you're a CEO or a parent.
Absolutely. The duty of a leader, a coach, a parent, it's twofold. First, set clear boundaries.
And second,
Validate their experience. You acknowledge their feelings. You don't have to agree with their reaction. So they learn the most important lesson of all, how to manage their own emotions.
it's all about creating the conditions for other people to flourish. And think of that Charles Buxton quote. The first duty to children is to make them happy. If you have not made them so, you have wronged them.
And that happiness isn't about giving them everything they want. It's about providing an environment of security and clarity that comes from your own character, your own willingness to do the hard work.
So to bring it all home, what does this mean for you today? The freedom to be your best, that ability, it's everywhere. We have so much opportunity.
But meaning and achievement and character that's found in the small daily acts of willingness.
The choice to move out of that can't and won't victim zone and into the really uncomfortable but essential growth zone of can't but will, that choice defines your entire life.
It's a choice you have to make every single morning. Like Louise Hay said, I choose to make the rest of my life the best of my life.
Carpe diem. It isn't just a nice phrase, it's a command. Act now, because that's the only way to turn potential into reality.
We've talked about deep study, about lingering with master thinkers, and about that fierce self-interrogation in your journal.
So I want to leave you with one final question that demands your resolve right now. What single idea, what text, or what master thinker have you been just skimming over because it was hard or uncomfortable that requires you to stop, to truly linger, to write about it, and to bring it into your spiritual combat today? The freedom to do your best is yours. The only question is, are you willing to use it?